Okay, thank you. Call to order this meeting.
Your Worship, we need to add 7:02 concluding.
All right. Any other errors or omissions? All right, I'll move that we accept the minutes as amended, seconded by Councillor Anstead. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We have no delegations tonight. Public input. We'll all look at the public. Nothing? Anything online, Lee? Nothing? All right. We have a note under bylaws policies that the OCP and zoning bylaw have been sent for referral. Do we have a timeline? I suppose lots of OCPs and zoning bylaws are going in for referral right now.
Yes, it's the ALR that's requested a September 3rd turnaround. So, and I believe they are also on the September 3rd agenda for the TRD for consideration in regards to the regional context statement. So we need to those reviews, and after that, we should be able to move forward.
Perfect, thank you. 6.1, development of a heritage register, and I would like to move that council receive the development and feasibility of a community heritage register report for information, and also direct staff for development of a Village of Ashcroft community heritage, section 598 of the Local Government Act, incorporating the existing historical plaque program where appropriate, and utilizing Ashcroft Museum staff, historical research, and statements of significance permit. Seconded by Councillor Clement. Discussion. Thank you very much for the very comprehensive report. The Village of Clinton one was very area by which you judge an application. The applications do come before council, and I like the fact that it does not put any handcuffs on the owners of the properties.
Mm-hmm. And what we included in ours is that I think it's technically it's up to council. Council can make that designation without property owner approval or involvement in that. But I think I like that because we have the plaque program to have.
I did speak with two people that were a little bit concerned about that. You do understand from previous ownership of the BX that is actually the only one that has heritage designation within the village. However, that's just the roof line, which is odd. It's not the building. So when we purchased the building in the early 2000s, Michelle and I went through the hoops to make sure that in case of a fire or something that I didn't have to have non-conforming insurance, non-conforming placement insurance or something. In actual fact, the response from the government was that that is the only heritage piece in town, and it's only the roof line. So I'm glad that that was a homeowner. Thank you.
We have had people over the years ask about heritage designation to protect buildings so they can't be torn down, and I think that was and probably still is going through a wave of them. I think this is a nice way of recognizing our heritage in addition to the plaques, which only have so much of them. The heritage register, I mean, the one for quite an extensive history along with photographs, so it's a nice way to a nice source of information and historical information for researchers who do like that kind of thing. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. For action, Ashcroft Hub, Terry Foxruff, request for free use of Heritage Park. Councillor Tedford?
I'll make the motion that that would happen with the caveat of a date. I saw on the insurance paper that it was the 20th.
Yes. Yeah, it said this year, September 20th?
Set it on the insurance paper, but it doesn't say it on the.
On your agenda, the motion.
Sorry.
Okay, so Councillor Tabor seconded by Councillor Anstey. Thank you. Any discussion? If you want a shirt, you have until the 25th, so that is tomorrow, to order one of this year's t-shirts. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. Ashcroft Indian Band, request for letter of support. Do you have a recommendation? Councillor Davenport?
I move that council provides a letter of support to the Ashcroft Indian Band's application to build community strong fund local impact stream for their community center infrastructure project.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Anstey. Any discussion on this item?
So background. So as you're aware, AIB was previously approved for the structure, and like us has realized that their costs are escalating, and so that they're applying to this stream to help offset the costs of the overruns costs.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We have a number of items for information. Anyone want to? For information. Jill. Councillor
I
Grant.
just have a question. Are we gonna try and get a and transit staff then instead, since we were not able to? Oh, okay. That's frustrating.
Yes.
That you get told and can't go with the second.
Would you like to go with the second option?
Prior to. I thought.
And nice to see the transloops up and running in a new location.
Yes.
Which will add more traffic to the intersection, so.
Yes. Report later on. All right, we have the task manager. Does anyone have any comments on the task manager? Scroll. Scroll. On to item 8.2, and I'm going to jump to make as a first motion that we grant the permissive tax exempt funding source to be determined via a separate motion. Councilor Clement, thank you. Discussion? Discussion.
Do we want to have the discussion now for the second motion?
Yeah.
Or just make a motion to permit it? No.
And what happened?
Yeah.
The one motion on the floor, which is what you guys postponed to address that motion, whether it stands or is.
Oh, the first one, sorry,
The
okay.
first motion, yes.
Okay. So we do have the first motion, which is grant the council provide direct Canadian Legion Branch 1 incomplete.
With the resulting municipal tax revenue offsets for reduction of discretionary budget.
Okay. So does someone want to move that motion? Because if it is not moved, it dies on the floor.
It was moved at the last meeting and we postponed it to this meeting, so it needs to be voted on, it needs to be.
So it's on the floor then for
That we need to discuss what our options are before we decide, because question,
Have, Sorry.
one of my,
But we're allowed to make a discussion, like we're allowed to discuss
now that
right
a
now.
motion, discuss that motion,
So,
you are gonna have to recuse yourself.
right.
So,
Can I sit in but not actually talk while we have, and then,
no, you have to
Recuse
actually
is-
physically leave the room.
And that's a very good question because mine doesn't involve
okay,
the two, which I just.
We keep putting motions up and we either vote for them or vote against them, in which case we go to the, we keep voting. And see.
I feel like it would be really beneficial to hear all the plans before legally. I don't know.
Let's make a motion.
You're our
Go to
clerk.
committee of the whole. You can
Great.
go to the whole regular discussion. And I think that is the option.
Perfect.
Motion to go to committee.
All right, I will second that. All right, so now we're going to vote. You want to chair the committee of the whole? You don't have to. If you don't want to.
Sure, I will.
Okay.
I'll take a stab at it. Do we have to form?
So basically, you don't have something to say, so let me put my hand.
Okay, so we are in the whole, we're discussing
The
8.2, we're
Eight.
discussing a motion.
Discussion motion.
No, we're just discussing.
Okay, so I make,
So I would suggest that I motion that we have turned our backs on it for the moment. I'd like to see that cancel, I'd like to see that. And then I would like to see is to grant the permissive tax determined via to about $3 per average household in Ashcroft.
The same, that we move the tax. That we where it was ago, especially the fact that we may or may not will not have a fall fare as of the information we just read. In addition of a percent, that will alleviate the discretionary. That will leave the discretion and bursaries so that if council desires to do the increase in funding dollars for bursaries in the future, accomplished. So that would mitigate the village administration, allow for the tax exemption for the Legion. Actually, we're saying the same thing. I did not understand that grant and aid meant the hub in this case, or essentially we're saying the same thing, but it would put us in a surplus position to use, to give you a total reduction in of essentially, or the grant and aid bursary money $75. 1% increase in the taxes would account to less than $1 per house.
With using the $5,000 conditional grant in aid, because that right now is community groups. The community, and they are only allowed to get $500 maximum, but that is only groups, and I would hate to see that. And I would not want to see the bursary, because we could give one $500 bursary. Fine. Brought it back. Sure.
You,
Okay. No. I think my objection is if we raise the condition in aid because we realize money does not go as far as it used to. A grant today is not the same years ago. The trouble with grants and bursaries is that they do tend to get stuck in, they get a long time until someone finally knows a lot of money. Right now, I grant an aid of 5,000, maximum of 500, gives organizations a year a chance to get now 5. And there are so many groups in this community. Downplay what the Legion does, but there are other a lot as well. And $500 to them is a lot of money. The difference between offering something and not offering something. The same, I think, to encourage students, $37,500 in bursaries from local. $37,500 given to our Desert Sand students this year by local organizations, which is awesome. It really is awesome, and I think we need to realize that our students get something of a disadvantage being in a rural necessarily who is going to have to be, because she couldn't take some of the grade 12 level to here. So she's entry, even though she got a $42,000 at something of a disadvantage. I don't.
Been assigned forever and it's become part of their regular books, then there's an accountability there that's been lost. And it wasn't entirely taken in the spring to the tune of $200 essentially. We ended up with $180, I think, to the feral cat people. So that was $200 on a $2,500 intake. That's 10% right there, times twice in the year is 20%. 20% of $5,000 is a grant. Right there, if you annualize it, there's $1,000 that wasn't used. And that's where my thinking came to, well, maybe there's an opportunity here that's being used that shouldn't be being used. And it wasn't in the spring until the end when somebody stepped up. I am absolutely entirely in favor of tax exemption for the Legion. I make that perfectly clear. I'm just trying to find the best way to fund this and not overstep our boundaries.
Can you, Danielle, do you have because I'm pretty sure we were fully subscribed for the grant in the last few years, right? Like, if my memory recalls, so
Yes.
this spring was an anomaly.
Sometimes we've been oversubscribed, so we've cut, we proportionately shared out what the dollars that were available. So it's this way, the spring, the fall intake is more often than not, sometimes has been undersubscribed. And then we get those requests that come in later on and gets canceled with the discretionary we go back.
In our strategy. So the spring is a not a normal grant need picture.
Thank you. I mean, it swings and roundabouts and it comes and goes. It's some years there's more uptake than others. It's supposed to be part of their line item. This is not something that they should be counting on year after year. It has to be used for a specific project, not baked into their thinking, so that they are aware of that. And I think too, I hope it makes people realize that $8,000 or so may not sound like a lot, but we have to struggle to find that money. And, you know, on the one hand, things are only going to get tougher with the economic climate we suddenly find ourselves in. To me, almost perversely, that makes it more important for us to maintain the funding we have, because I think we are better equipped to try and absorb some of those blows than some of the groups who are going to be asking us for $500. So I think we need to still have that lifeline available as long as we can, particularly in the rough economic climate, because otherwise some of these small groups that we depend on in our communities could be life and death. I'm not trying to be overly melodramatic or anything, but I know how thin a margin some of these groups run on.
Councillor Tucker?
That's why I take the 0.1%.
the economic situation changes, and it's where sometimes we local governments, not just here, get into trouble is because something has been fixed at a certain rate for so long, you just accept that that's what it is, and then suddenly you look at it one day and go, wow, this hasn't been increased for 10 years. And what might have been a lot of money in 2016 isn't necessarily gonna go that far in 2026, or whatever. So anyway, that would be my suggestion, that we defeat the motion that we brought today, we carried into this meeting, and that we do two separate motions, because if we are going to be talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, CEO Dick, if we are gonna be talking about reducing the unconditional grant for the hub, then Councillor Clement will have to recuse herself. Whereas if we kept it all one kind of portmanteau thing, then she'd have to leave and couldn't have any of it.
Okay. So any other comments or questions, suggestions? I'd just like to say that I have a hard time taking away bursary money from students. That's a hard thing for me to be putting my stamp on. And bursaries, I agree with you, there's definitely an anomaly that happened that regularly, and having to turn some groups away as well, so just some history there. Anybody else have any comments? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
Nope.
We need a motion to return to the regular meeting.
We need a motion to return back to our regular meeting. And all those in favor?
All those in favor, okay?
Back to you, Mayor Wood.
Okay, back to me. So we do have a motion on the floor that council provide direction regarding the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 113 request for a permissive tax exemption for the 2027 taxation year by selecting the following option: grant the permissive tax exemption with the resulting reduction in municipal tax revenue, offset through reductions to council's discretionary budget allocations. Any discussion on that particular motion? Excuse me. All those in favor? Motion is defeated. All right, in that case, then I would like to make a motion that we grant the permissive tax exemption with a funding source to be determined via a separate motion. Councillor Clement is making that motion. It's seconded by Councillor Davenport. Thank you. Discussion? No? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. So my second one is I would like to move that council fund the permissive tax exemption for the Ashcroft Legion via 1, reduction of the hub's unconditional grant by $3,000, and 2, an estimated tax increase of 0.25%.
I will recuse myself.
Thank you. For Councillor Clement to leave. Thank you. So I've made that motion, seconded by Councillor Tedford. Thank you. Discussion. Discussion?
Either way,
All right. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Director Benowitz. Oh, she's got that. The minutes will be fine.
You have your book to write.
All right. New business. Is there any new business? Reports, recommendations from committees of the whole, and commissions. We need to have a commission. We've never had one. We need one commission. I decided we need one. All right, we move on to reports. And I'm going to report that CEO Dick and I met with the new manager of the Ashcroft Trail, Martin. Spina, I think, or Spinney.
S-B-I-N-I.
Yes, and he replaced Chris Schubert, who has taken a position elsewhere. He's been here for almost 20 years, I think. And I thought Chris's commute was long because he lives in North Vancouver, but Martin lives in Panama.
What?
So, yes. So he's got a real commute. I hope he has frequent flyer miles. But he's very nice, lots of experience. We had a very good conversation. One of the things that we have, Hattie Kinvig was there at the discussion as well. One of the things that we did talk about was the increase in traffic along Evans Road. A lot of it occasioned by the moving of the copper concentrate facility from Hollis Road. That is being decommissioned, by the way, out to the terminal. So we are going to be looking at what that might look like. CAO Dick was going to find some excuse me, previous studies that were done about that particular junction with Evans Road and 97C and the bridge, just to see what alternatives might have been proposed in the past. So no, had a very good discussion. He's very much looking forward to being here once every 2 weeks or something. So.
There's a piece of land that's for sale too. It's right on the end of that road.
On Evans or Barnes Road or
Evans Road. Not Evans Road. Sorry, different thing. Carry on.
Okay.
Near the school district.
Oh, Halls Road.
Hollis Road.
Went to the 40th anniversary for Tech Highland Valley Copper in Logan Lake a week ago yesterday. Very well attended, lots of former employees there, so I understand. There were tours of the mine. I didn't go on one, but those were apparently very popular. And so a number of people, including myself, just gave a little bit of talk about Highland Valley and the mine life extension. I was able to show a headline from 1976 showing that Lornex, which of course preceded Highland Valley Tech, estimated in 1976 that there was enough copper there to keep the site going through 2000. So I said, I wonder what they'd think in 1976 if we told them it's now looking at 2046 and possibly beyond that.
Yeah.
So. And TNRD has been fairly quiet, nothing there, 2 more meetings to go. Next one is on September the 3rd. That's it. Oh, and of course the barbecue. The barbecue was wonderful, except for the smoke and the rain. Apart from those 2 things, it was wonderful.
The rain was wonderful.
And the lack of cheese. Apart from the smoke, the lack of cheese and the rain, it was wonderful. No, it was great to see so many people out. 3 village employees who will remain nameless, Courtney, Mikey, and Yogi, went running through the spray from the fire engine.
Oh, really?
Yes, and very much enjoyed that. The rumors of them pushing the little children out of the way are not true. Not true at all. But no, it was really good. Lots of positive comments, and I think people enjoyed not so much the free food, although they like that. That's just a chance to get together with other people. I see lots of conversations going on. So that was really, really nice to see. So thank you to all the staff and the volunteers who set up, cooked, didn't get near the barbecue again. Next year, maybe. And thank you to all the people who did the cleanup, and to the other participants, to Colin for the music, Colin Maston, and to the backpack, Sharon McKinley and the backpack giveaway. I gather that was very successful. They had a number of students from Clinton come and take advantage of some of the extra supplies, and I think next year they plan to offer the free backpacks, not only to Ashcroft, Cache Creek, and Venable schools, but also Clinton, Lytton, and Littlewood as well, possibly. So
That was the discussion that day.
Yeah, because they actually, I think they had a couple of kids from 100 Mile who came. So we don't quite extend that far, but very supplies. That was awesome. So I went up to Clinton, to the Resiliency Center on Friday, which was awesome. Really great setup they've got up there. Horsings Farm Market, great corporate citizen. They had donated 150 pounds. I carried one just so I could say I helped. And It must have weighed, I'm not kidding, it weighed 40 pounds at least. Fruit, vegetable, homemade potato bread, eggs. Blackwell Dairy had donated 2-liter jugs of white and chocolate milk. They've got tons of food. There's been donations rolling in, so it's really, really great. I know that there's a lot of people up there with very difficult roads ahead of them, but there's a lot of help available as well. And again, a lot of people dropping by just to chat, so. And that's that. Anyone else? No? Okay, resolution to adjourn to a closed meeting. We do not need to do that.